And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Tomorrow morning's flying weather, we've got pretty good conditions here over southern Alaska, and then marginal VFR streaming through the central interior with IFR due to a southwest flow carrying moisture in, lower flying conditions, snow, fog, that sort of thing into the western Brooks Range, northwest coast, including the NOAA Valley, just north of Kotzebue, back up along the western Arctic coast. And then good VFR here over the eastern Bering Sea, some marginal VFR with another disturbance there into the Yukon and Kuskokwim Delta on up across the Seward Peninsula. And then a big area of IFR out here to the west with that big storm. Otherwise, looking good here for the southeast coast. Marginal VFR in areas there, but generally not too bad. And that VFR pattern extends across the Gulf of Alaska into Kodiak Island. And then for the afternoon, tomorrow, no change, good conditions here. St. Lawrence Island down to the eastern Aleutians, good VFR all the way across from, well, if you're flying in from Dutch Harbor, you'd have no clouds at all. Well, I won't say there won't be any clouds, but it'll be VFR all the way over to Juneau, and then VFR all the way down to Dixon Entrance. Still some marginal VFR in areas of the central interior here, and then a break there for the North Slope, Eastern Brooks Range, back to areas of marginal VFR for the Arctic coast. And out to the west here, we've got a narrowing band of IFR trying to push eastward, gets into Adak and Atka, but stays west of the Pribilof Islands as well as Nikolsky. And for Sunday morning, that continues to narrow here and edge its way eastward just about into the Pribilofs, but not quite, almost into St. Paul, coming down to Nikolsky, another batch out here over the southwest Bering. VFR holding across southern eastern Alaska. Still marginal VFR up here over the northwest part of the state, as well as the Arctic coast. And some IFR now with a big storm off to the southwest of the Panhandle. Warm front type IFR spreading into the southern southeast coast with lowering conditions gradually shifting northward. And then for Monday afternoon, that really shifts northward from the morning hours. You can see makes a good jog to the northwest here with IFR all the way up just about to Cordova by Monday afternoon, covering all of the southeast coast, pushing into the Gulf of Alaska. But the interior from the west coast to the Yukon, VFR, maybe some marginal VFR for the Arctic coast up there on the east side, central eastern Arctic coast. And this front really weakening now, and just a narrow band of IFR affecting really the Pribilofs up to trying to push into St. Lawrence Island, but having a hard time getting even that far east here and staying nice along the southwest coast. And the Aleutians, mostly marginal. Passes for tomorrow for the Brooks Range, Anaktuvuk and Adigan, VFR for both passes there. VFR, Lake Clark and Merrill, rainy VFR, windy VFR for Isabel. Mentasta VFR, Tanita VFR, Portage VFR, and even Chilkoot and White VFR. So all the passes that we forecast for, looking for VFR, good flying tomorrow. And then for the freezing level here, 2,000 feet down, well, toward Dixon Entrance, and at the surface, basically south of mainland Alaska, even Kodiak Island there, and most of the Alaska Peninsula. Then with that big storm out west, some warmer air riding in on those southerly winds ahead of that front, bringing about 6,000 foot freezing levels into the far western Aleutians. And icing. Front still pretty strong tomorrow here, bringing quite an area of moderate rime icing in across the central Aleutians, and then some more swinging around with the main low center back to the west. Otherwise, not too bad here over the interior. Could be some possibilities of areas of icing here in the shaded areas. It'd be mostly light icing in that area up to the Arctic coast. Otherwise, pretty good down across the Panhandle and the Gulf of Alaska. Jet stream, southwest flow, about 165 knots at 33,000 feet across the Panhandle. North and northwesterlies lighter here, 65 to 70 knots over the western interior, although picking up to 85 knots here for the Alaska Peninsula. And then south-southwest, 110 knots there into the Bering Sea. 9,000 feet, big increase in the winds here at this elevation, 70 to 85 knots ahead of that powerful storm there just east of Kamchatka Peninsula. And then the front looking at 55 knot southwest winds, light here under high pressure over the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay. Kind of a westerly flow here, carrying moisture eastward across the northern half of the state, but not all that strong. Light winds, southern Alaska in the Gulf, as well as the Panhandle. 3,000 feet, light winds, southeast coast here, southern Alaska. Weak westerly flow through the central interior. Another weak westerly flow there for the Brooks Range area. Light winds under high pressure for Bristol Bay. And then out west, 70 knot southerly winds right across the Aleutians up into the Bering Sea. And turbulence, look for possible severe turbulence, shimmy and at 2, otherwise considerable moderate here for the remainder of the Aleutians.